And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah, they were telling Mr. Bill Buppert the exact same thing. You know, they were saying, "Hey, man, we need you to do what we tell you because we can, and you listen to what we tell you, take orders." Well, there was a time that he finally went to the point, and he's just no. So we're talking about that transition, but you know, one of the things that we were talking about during the break is you were saying the cost involved. I mean, just simple things. Go ahead and give us some of those numbers again.
Well, the cost of our neo-imperialist enterprise right now is just absolutely enormous. It costs probably between $75 and $110 per gallon of diesel that goes into all of our vehicles that are overseas, whether in Iraq or Afghanistan, more expensive in Afghanistan because of the lines of communications and the trafficability difficulties. In order to field one contractor who's making, let's say, between $150,000 and $250,000 a year as a salary, with the normal wrap rates that are in the industry, which is how much it costs industry or a corporation to hire a guy for the government to do that, is probably 2 to 3 times what that amount would be, somewhere around there, which means that if you're fielding a guy in Afghanistan who's a contractor, one of those guys who's all kitted out with all the best luxury tactical items money can buy.
Yeah, in black.
Or coyote. That's a popular color over there now. He's costing us between $600,000 and $700,000.
Per what?
Per man.
For a year or just
for
to get
there?
there?
Oh, for a year.
For a year. Okay.
For a year. You know, to get there, that's going to be bloody expensive. You know, you look at the number of military bases we have around the world. You look at the size of Bagram, for instance, which just boggles the mind in Afghanistan. You look at these bases we've established in Iraq. We're in like 110 countries, doing everything from having a dozen guys there to having 55,000 people there. The cost of this imperialist enterprise is enormous, and we're not even doing it in the way that Britain did, where they tried to find a way to make it profitable, where they tried to find a way to draw monies from, let's say, the Raj in India or a number of their colonies and make it pay off in some fashion.
I got to share, with the audience this part. Hans Hermann Hoppe, you remember,
Yes.
know who he is? He's an economics guy at Las Vegas University. And he was a speaker at the Freedom Summit, and it was encouraged that he come and talk to us, and I could see why. He made the argument, he goes, monarchies are better. Because at least there's only one guy you got to take out. And the other thing is that when they go into these wars, it's for profit. Now, as a whole, for the kingdom kind of thing, when you use a democracy, an empire like that, to go to war, all they're trying to fund is Goldman Sachs in the military-industrial complex or something. It's not like, screw the kingdom or the people or whatever. There's specific individuals or corporations that make money from this. That's where the money is. So when you had the British Empire, what made me think of that is the argument that he was making. When you had the British Empire going in, well, of course they're wanting to make money for the empire. Everybody benefits a little island back in Great Britain. What we're doing now, their little island is some corporate account somewhere. It's not even the same. Of course, it's all bad anyway. That this whole empire thing doesn't work. Sure as heck sucks for the people there. But we're in a situation now. You've had guests on all this last week where I've had people the last couple of weeks that are in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, in Iraq, in Egypt, in Afghanistan. My phone bill is damn, okay? And these people are they're talking about, yesterday I think it was, I had a guy on, he's talking about, well, we want to make sure we get a timetable for withdrawal from Afghanistan. I go, you got a timetable for end of this year for Iraq. Do you really think they're going to abandon all these bases? Heck no. In Afghanistan, you don't even have a homogenized, consolidated, even country. There are a bunch of tribes that are like, you're not going to get a national soccer team out of us. There's no, what are you talking about? This is map lines drawn by some English and French guys in World War I or something. So do you think that there's ever going to be an abandonment of these military bases? And if we leave, somebody's going to take them over.
I absolutely think there's going to be an abandonment of them. I don't even know if we'll have the money to bring the troops home and pay their airfare, because the economic collapse that we have coming to us is not a matter of if, but when. It is absolutely impossible historically to sustain ourselves economically with both our monetary system, our deficit, our debt, and all the other sundry things that we're doing through regulation and taxation in this country. You know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take the golden goose and make it continue to lay these eggs, but we're strangling that goose, we're raping the goose, we're setting it on fire, we're limiting that. We're doing everything we possibly can to take the engines of entrepreneurship and small business and strangle them in their cradles. So I think to a large extent, it's not going to be something that the U.S. government wants, but our currency is going to collapse. Once that happens, sure, we're going to abandon all those bases, and they're going to go to whoever is running that country at the time. It's interesting you mentioned Afghanistan. Afghanistan is one of those countries, and I have to admit, admiring this to a certain extent. It will never have a president. It can only have a mayor.
Okay, define that.
What that means is that outside of Kabul, much like the pre-15th century Martin van Creveld nation states, he can't control squat. Whoever is there, whether it's the former Philadelphia restaurateur, who we currently installed there as our puppet, or whoever succeeds him, outside of Kabul, they can't control squat in the four corners of that nation.
You know, that was another thing. I was talking to, what do they call it, NGO, non-governmental whatever.
Isn't that you and I?
Organization. Well, these people, they got, special pinky, pink slip, permission slip or whatever the heck it is. And she was talking about the highway that they have there. And all it does is link the military bases. It's like their Autobahn from base to base or something. So what they do is they have this one stretch of highway that goes for hundreds of miles, and it costs $1 gazillion trillion, and they have to keep paying off the warlords. And it reminded me of Lawrence of Arabia. All you had to do is keep, blowing up the railways of the Ottoman Empire and keep them engaged and, chasing them around and then blowing up their rail lines and everything. And they never could join the trenches of their allies, the Germans, in World War I. So that was kind of the whole point, was to keep them there, because once they got out of Arabia, they weren't going to go back. Or couldn't. So now we're in Afghanistan. If the warlords ever get the U.S. out, and from trying to keep finishing this road or whatever, they're never going to get back. But in the meantime, they're making bank, keep paying us off, and we'll keep kind of sort of letting you finish a little bit here and cost and give us some money. So this whole thing is just to make somebody some money. And even if they keep the bases there, it's for, I don't know, exploitation of resources or oil pipelines or rare earth elements or something. I mean, they keep coming up with all these flags of, we have to support the empire. It's like we're the Romans or something. It's like they have to convince the American people that our lifestyle depends on us ruling these tribes there. And I'm like, it's always going to be there. It's a lot cheaper if you just go buy it.
To include the opium.
Whatever, I don't care. Heck, they need it illegal so that they can keep reaping the profit. Who do you think's making all the money? This little black bag CIA crap all over again. So I'm just, this reminds me of Bo Greitz in the early 90s. He goes, let me tell you how it really works, man. And Afghanistan was included in a lot of that stuff. So I'm going, okay, Golden Triangle. Hell, Sheriff Arpaio, Mr. DEA, was in Turkey. These guys it's the same names. It's the same people. When we come back, I really want to focus on what we're going to do next, because I think we can agree that it's going to go. I mean, just the math doesn't work. There's no way we're going to be able to perpetuate this. One way is they're going to just say, you know what? We need to do away with, you're right, it's all bad. We're going to have the worldo. We're going to go to that, and they'll drag it out a little bit longer and so on. But the lifestyle, if we cling to the idea of government, our individual lifestyle, our children, our grandchildren, it's going to keep plummeting down. If we can break our minds free, there's another option. But we're going to talk about that when we come back with William Buppert here on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit.